All right. Well, I'm recording. I don't know how the audio is going to turn out, really. Like, we're trying to get the whole room.
I'm going to test the live stream
All right. You're going to like to try to get it working? Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so I think, should we leverage the whiteboard or something? Try and like figure out like what we're trying to either one is fine. I guess we're there. Yeah. Whiteboard now. You like trying to every time you see the word interact. Or something like that. I'm sorry, I see it a lot.
That's what we think there. Also, for now or for later, I brought some cookies from New York. From like the local place near us, black and white cookies.
Oh, nice. I've heard of those. They're
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, these whiteboard markers? No, those are all. Those are all markers. I'm pretty sure these were all flip chart. So I think we can start by just listing the features that we want to do, and then what it'll take to what we need for those.
maybe ask the.
Yeah, should we pause
Say again.
Should we pause?
The recording? Or?
No, the stand-up bot.
Oh, for this time. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Can you pause the whole thing from the? Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Sorry,
it's gonna be. Yeah, but then it keeps pinging you.
you also have like the statistics on the channel, like okay, we are missing like 13.
Oh yeah, we don't want to mess up our
stats.
Yeah.
You guys don't like everybody just posting a state stats.
At New Relic, the design team had a cool thing where at 2 p.m. we had a screenshot of cloud where, because the designers, like all worked in different teams, and so they would all post like a photo or a screenshot of what they were doing too. Yeah.
That's nice.
It was a cool like version of stand-up.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. We could do that. Here's my screen of code.
Yeah.
The nice thing about pausing default is if you're taking a day off or something, it won't count you in the. You can still get 100% participation, and anyone who's out of office won't be included.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you, you can't schedule to unpause at certain times.
Yeah, you can say pause for a certain number of days. And it
It just keeps pinging you. Are you back yet?
Oh, wow.
He
Okay.
did the master pause.
Answer pause.
So we don't want to pause.
Maybe you could send yourself a message and tell Slack to remind you like in 5 days.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
There you go. I always forget about Slack Remind.
I overuse that and have like 20.
Or you just ignore them then.
Well, it's like on Slack, it says I have 28 notifications, and so when I go in there, then it's like, where do they all go? And it's like, oh, that's a Slack back reminder, just like yelling at me.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really scale around, I guess. This is where you work as a good like producer.
No. I used to use it with my old team just as a reminder for everybody to like do a certain like on Friday the support hero was supposed to fill out like a thing. Summary of what happened.
I try to remove personal Slack messages.
Cool, ready?
Yeah, I was just kind of like laying out like the major like the features. So we have three issues underneath the epic basically that we use for this release. One is like configuration, which is like, okay, how do I configure a Sentry integration, which are like settings, like operations, Sentry, people want that tracing. That's really just the URL and the bearer token. I think we can of course integrate. I think all you need to like hook in the Sentry API. I should stop taking it because
No, it's not. We can think about the word landscape how many times.
yeah, we don't need a running marker. Anyways, a list view is quite simple. It's eyeball and offset error tracking where the errors we can figure out like the view is right determined be. And then a detail view like viewing there. It's probably like the user facing stuff, and then obviously like the under the hood stuff you're gonna have probably like some adapter or some kind of like for how we talk to Sentry, like by Unify and some Python. So that's would be something there, and obviously the front end workflows and the controllers and things like that. But I'm probably the best person to talk about those.
Yeah, well, I think we could. Yeah, maybe it would help to for all of the aspects to think about what pieces we need for each of these. So obviously, like, I mean, I feel like this pretty much lists sort of what the like end goal is for each of these things. What do we need to get there?
Are we going to try to use GraphQL for this feature, or are we going to use just regular API?
I don't know.
Well, some other teams are starting to use GraphQL for certain things, so it might be easier to pull data.
I mean, I think the only that is using GraphQL right now was the one that Bob for the like last release.
Yeah. Just might be easier rather than trying to create endpoints for each data. But I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the best person to answer, probably. Peter. I don't know. I mean, I think like for this particular thing, there probably aren't that many endpoints. So I think it comes down to like, I mean, in the long term, do we want it to be GraphQL? You know, probably. I mean, for the most part, we're just going to be taking what we're getting from Sentry and then providing it to the front end. So it's not like super rich data, I think, in that way.
Also, I shouldn't use it then, so it doesn't take too long to wrap up.
Yeah.
I think for the settings page, since it's a single controller on the backend for all the integrations, and if we're going to use like the integration workflow that we currently have, that controller will have to be refactored, and that will take a bunch of time just to refactor the whole integration controller, and from there, using a GraphQL.
I think we're trying to get away from the integration controller, although this is actually interesting. Well, this is the website part, but yeah, I think we're gonna have like a Sentry error tracking type one instead of typing like the so if you go to settings, operations, error tracking to set this up, as opposed to like hiding this in that massive list of like integrations. Because that's one challenge with like Prometheus right now is like to go turn it on, you have to like go find it in like the list of 30 different integrations. And I think we have a lot of awesome integration there, and that should be like more easy to find.
Yeah.
So I think so. But I have a 12.0 issue. I think to try and move it out of integrations into like a proper like settings, operations, like metrics, and then figure out the Prometheus stuff there.
Would the configuration be in settings, or would it just be in its own, like, because I mean, if we're having a list view and a detail view, then would it just almost be like the Kubernetes clusters where it's like, oh, when you first go to it, you set it up, and then the settings are like kind of buried at the bottom of the page underneath the details of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few options. We could also, in the empty state, when you go to, say, the error list view, we could have something that takes you to that specific part of the settings to set it up, which might be maybe a little bit more of an MVC way to do that, so that we're not rebuilding configuration outside of settings.
I think another thing we could add to the I don't know if it's in what do we need, but we need like solutions for a blank page.
Yep.
Or empty state.
Yeah, empty state, yeah. Oh, and so Amelia did some great work on wireframes, and we have a little bit more to do on the default page. So just in terms of sort of a planning sense for while we're here, Amelia and I would love to work a little bit on the detail view together, and then talk about all the wireframes with the group for detail view, list view, empty state, and settings, and talk about what some of these things mean. Like, do we need an ignore feature? Do we need what is part of the sort of feature set for our MVC that we're moving over from Sentry?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right. Assuming the Sentry server to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is good, yeah. Yes.
What, we can't use production still?
I deleted mine last week by accident, so I had to rebuild it. So,
Should we have docs on setting up Sentry, since like the MVC is
Yeah.
using somebody else's?
I think we're trying to link to those probably, like the Sentry.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because
But like have our own page, even if it's just like, here's a link and then here's, our internal.
yeah, we definitely need docs. And, so it could be like a whole thing of what, obviously, like, the GitLab docs, but also how you like, some other Sentry related stuff as well. Install. Jeez.
Now you keep getting smaller. I don't have much more time.
I should have been one writing like handwriting's terrible. Related, and then like Sentry, like install.
Mm-hmm.
At least just make one. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some docs on how to do the development test.
The GDK related stuff, yeah.
Because, I mean, we don't have any backup maintainer or stuff. Someone will have to figure out how to communicate that so they can test it.
Mm-hmm. So for the most part, it seems like all of these are related to, or are necessary for all of those. Is that accurate?
I think so.
Like there's not. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of these things, and what do we need that only apply to one of these features?
Is this enterprise edition feature only?
I think so. I think so. So it's an interesting discussion. I opened another issue on this again, like I think there's a discussion about. So what happened is, for a while, like we were defining like as you mature in the DevOps process, you bought a higher tier, but that didn't really work because like we also then said that, oh, by the way, you also need to have like the larger you get, the more higher tier of a company you are. But then obviously like those are two orthogonal things. Like you can have a very DevOps mature company that's very small, and oftentimes like large companies tend to be the slowest to sort of adopt this stuff. And so like that model kind of fell apart maybe a month and a half ago, something like that. So the core was like, like all the OPSI stuff should be ultimate because like, that's the farthest along the DevOps maturity scale. You have the most features set of GitLab, and therefore you should pay the most. Then as we went the larger marketing / product discussion was like, no, we're going to reorient that and sell and like base it on the buyer. And so there's a whole page on like who the buyer is and like what the goal is. And so if it's transformational, it should be ultimate. And so I think we have to do like another like revamp of like where these things are. And I think the benefit is you can pull a lot more down into like core and lower tiers and get more usage and get more folks using them, because right now they're all on their ultimate. We don't have a whole bunch of ultimate customers right now.
Yeah.
At the same time, you also have the other typical challenge on the sales side where we're selling people ultimate and they're buying a roadmap, and then it's like we got to add value to ultimate as well. So I think it's kind of an interesting challenge on the packaging side of things, as well as also kind of like how do you on-ramp people to ultimate and sort of make them happy. Right now we're just discounting it, frankly.
I mean, should we just think about like almost within even some of the different categories, like maybe almost like the minimal, like the MVC is like what's in his like the open core, and then as we add more depth and more like tightly coupled integration with GitLab, have that be more in ultimate. So it's almost like you get some bit of metrics, you get some bit of Sentry configuration, but then pay for this, and here's how much more tightly coupled it is, and here's the nicer interfaces.
Yeah, so I like that model of like the freemium type model where like you have a sliding scale of features across every single one of these like kind of like categories. Yeah. Where if you're on core, you can get a good amount of usage just open source, and maybe some of the advanced like incident management workflows like might not be available, and there is those for like ultimate, but like you should be able to see the health of your services, and like that should all just be core. So I think in that discussion, that issue, like we have a larger like reorientation of like basically pulling things down. So I apologize if that makes you get like stressed out. I know pulling things down into CE is not the easiest thing in the world.
I'm just asking because of GDK and so on, so the integration is quite different on the EE side.
So I guess the question is, where should we build it now?
Yeah, I had announced it yesterday on Ultimate just because that was like the original plan. I haven't gotten sign off yet to like try and, because like typically to try and pull things into lower tiers. Well, I guess there's some new, we don't have to go to SID, but previously if you want to like try and pull something down, there's a defined process around how you do that. It's like go talk to sales, make sure they're okay with it, go talk to SID, make sure SID's okay with it. And so for these things stuff, it's harder, like it's a longer process to try and get it pulled lower. But I think for Center, we could discuss making like premium and things like that, or even core, frankly, for like the first iteration. And so I think the fact that we announced it as Ultimate like yesterday doesn't preclude us from just shipping this forward, frankly. So I think we should probably like align on what we want to do. I am on board for making core, I think, because it's an NDC. I think, but we just need to have a plan for like, there's an idea in our head around what should the premium ultimate features be, right? Because we want to make sure we have that story to tell people like around why we want to make parts of it free.
Yeah.
I really like that story, and also just UX-wise, if we can get some of the MVC stuff into core, then we get more feedback and we can build a better product.
Yep,
true.
But I really like the story around having some of the more advanced workflows be ultimate.
Yeah, so I think we should make sure probably have, like, I think tactically just having a list of those, like incident management, or like you can just basically say generally like this will be probably more of like a paid feature. I think even within that, like the issue, like the incident itself should probably be core, and then like all the automation and intelligence could then probably be like or whatever.
Like you can manually do some of those workflows, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I totally didn't mention this before, but like I would, yeah. So I was thinking was like even incident would be like free itself, doesn't mean okay I can make an incident, or I can have an incident made for me, but it's not going to have like all the sort of like intelligence to like figure out like what's going on across your releases. That might be like premium, and then maybe again we can think about like I should just show this page. Hold on a second. Let me just find it.
Are you on the Zoom?
I'm not on the Zoom. I'll join the Zoom again.
It's just,
You think
I mean, that feels like a really good story too for upgrading to Ultimate when you have like you have a little bit of each of these categories. So like if you're a tiny company, it's like, oh yeah, I want to do like using GitLab and I want to have metrics like cool, here's metrics. Oh,
no, it's wrong.
Yeah, and then
What's that?
yeah, like oh, I want more functionality. This is nice. Like I got the taster, I like it. I want more of the functionality. So cool, I'm gonna upgrade.
I agree. I think obviously we need to make sure we have like sensible like tiers, right? And so you can get like a good chunk of functionality to each of these ones that like can stand by itself and make sense. I want to say it's the CEO pricing. No, I've said to my Marcia fixed it. Oops. I'm going to share this. So this is the page where we talk about like how we price things and package things. So if you look at this, we have like 4 tiers. And so this is kind of what we say. And we say that we basically we decide on the license based on like who the buyer is. And so like if you're selling to like a C-level person and like giving them the pitch, the features that like go into that pitch should be probably ultimate features, because it's going to be, you know, like a transformational type of like a sale. If you're talking to more of like a director type person, maybe talking more about like here's like the benefits, or here's like can help fix your process and or you know save you money or whatever it is, but kind of like a more like an improvement type sale rather than like a whole transformation of like your company. And then you know if you go on a starter, it's more of a feature sale. Like oh starter, you want multiple LDAP. And like oh that's a starter feature. And frankly, like for starter, it's $4. We're just tend to not put a lot of stuff in there because it's already like just trying to sell the starter by itself, and so it's like least for me, I think it's going to be the core premium as far as like where the break would be, as opposed to like starter itself.
Why would somebody buy starter over just using the free?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple little bullets there as far as like if you look at like what goes in the starter.
Well, starter is just the base need.
Starter, no, there's a couple features in starter. So if you look at starter as far as self-managed, it's just going to default to GitLab.com now. Huh. This is the first page that loads. Interesting. So here's starter, right? You get support, next business is support, which you don't get also otherwise. And so it's an easy on support. And you get a couple things like merge approvals, multiple approvals and code review and things like that. And then premium is sort of like where you can jump into like you get GitLab Geo, you get 4-hour business standard time, you get the HA package solution. And so I think so immensely for me, I think I would try and like have a core and then a premium break and then have ultimate. So we don't have like too many like features spread across. And so that's I think how we would I would try and prefer to do it. And
Makes sense.
so I think we can put a lot of it in core, and then we can then take a look at like some of the more advanced features and say like premium, and then kind of around like the really large things, security governance, risk compliance, audit laws, and things like that. Tend to like that really big stuff tends to be ultimate. And so like I was maybe thinking like error budgets and like trying to like manage that process might be the ultimate one. Figure out like, okay, who can I attribute like an outage to, and like some of that kind of workflow might be interesting in ultimate. And then you can have more like the incident stuff sort of still be like premium, maybe like even the automation and the intelligence, but sort of like the high level workflows of like, how can I attribute an incident to a team and like at a high level like manage like error budgets across my organization. But anyway, that was a thought around how you could like
I think that certainly from like systems I've seen in the past, like that sort of highest level, like the dashboards about uptime and incidents that executives would be interested in, looking across the whole org. That feels like it would be ultimate.
I think. So
defining error budgets and things definitely sounds like the ultimate.
Yeah, I think they're
just tracking, basic incident tracking should be.
Yeah, or even like even more.
Well, at least be able to create instances in board.
Yeah. Yeah, and then having some of the automation intelligence being a premium, and then having like the executive dashboards.
I think premium could also include like the linking issues you're talking about, embedding. That's all about.
Yeah.
So the core can really just be an interface into Sentry.
So I think it's a good conversation to have. I think here we can probably pretty easily get the I can work on an issue as we talked about here to sort of float with folks around like putting Sentry into core, like the core MVC, and then talk about how we could sort of see this. So I'll probably try and get that approved. I'll have a meeting tomorrow so we can try and talk about it.
That buyer breakdown is really helpful when you're thinking about those two. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think it also is like you kind of got to maybe think about who you're talking to. So if we were at Prospect last week, they actually had different directors for the dev and the ops products. Right, so someone responsible for like sort of like the Jira's, like the GitHubs of the world, and then someone else just responsible for like sort of how you manage, maintain, and like keep things operational. So it was actually different people, and so that's also an interesting challenge. We try and sell this stuff.
The development versus maintenance of the product.
Yep. Cool. Okay. So that's the. I'm not going to say iterate, but that's the current packaging plan. And with any company, packaging and pricing is always a work in progress. And so, but I think I like this version much more than the previous version, where like everything is in a certain stack, because then like how do you show like, I'd love to have a lot more on core to get people like, oh, cool, like, this is being core, like, this is cool, you guys are doing this stuff, and then they can then know that we're doing it, it's there, they can see it, and then they can then go research, like, okay, well, I wish this feature was there, and then, oh, it is there, that one is just in my data, for example. Have a, think about whether they want to buy premium or
So would the MVC be under a feature flag?
under a feature flag.
I think we should probably wrap this into feature flag, right? The thing that we're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, probably that way, if you don't quite get all the way there, we're okay, but I mean, I think hopefully we can ship it and make it publicly available.
Because this weekend document thing you pointed out that it's supposed to be features, it's supposed to be under flag.
Yeah.
That's what we've said, apparently.
Oh, okay, let's do it. Yeah, it makes sense to me, like, if it's easy, then why not, right?
Yeah, they can roll out, make them into.
Cool.
So should we start putting it in C or get pretty?
I would just start putting it in CD.
Yeah, I think so, I think we can start there.
Cool.
And I'll just read. Like, choose read it, whatever. Just, cool, okay.
Cool. So I'm gonna. So it seems like one other thing we need, and it's a smaller thing, the feature flag.
Which is different for front end and back end. So
Is it?
that may, I think so, yeah. The back end, you're gonna have to, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It gives it the same control though, like same feature flag.
Yeah.
It's just different ways you do this.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if you want to expose it in the front end, you need to pass that.
Right.
All right. So it seems like Josh, it seems like we're gonna do this one.
I'm doing it right now.
Cool. And then from there, like it also feels like there are some things that we need to sort of like harness to get started at all, right? I mean, I think that we could probably work with some mock data for building out controllers that will serve that data, the front end, building out the front end data. As soon as Josh has a server up, we can look at what the responses look like from the API, figure out how we would need to change those, how we need to format those, what we're serving at the front end.
There is a pretty good documentation on the API. Yeah, so like they have like sample responses and things like that in there. So just give me like 15 minutes in the interim.
Do we already have some mockups regarding this view and the data view?
Yes.
So we can map the data view.
There's a couple things that we'd like to talk about as a group as to whether we're not incorporating those over.
Okay.
So it would definitely be nice to be able to close something.
Yeah.
The do we feel ignore something.
Yeah.
And Sentry has lots of sophisticated ways to ignore things, but just as I talked about, can we just have a simple version where you just click ignore and it's not for a time period and it's not for some, if you want to do more sophisticated things, you can go to Sentry. The one thing that we still have to do is a little more work on the detail view wireframe, probably before we talk about that, but this view is already in a pretty good place and settings hopefully is not too much there.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure what we needed to do to, integrate it. Is it just like having a space to enter a URL? Is it a checkbox? I'm not sure which
Yeah.
controls we need. Yeah.
I mean, I think the two inputs we need is the URL and the bearer token per Sentry. And then that should unlock basically when it hits the API. Whether we want to have like, so like, I think with the tracing stuff, we didn't add a checkbox. So it's sort of like if it's filled in, it's enabled. If it's not filled in, it's disabled. And so we can maybe think about like that's if we want to have a checkbox to have a more clear distinction around that.
Yeah. That would be nice too, so that if you want to disable it, you don't have to actually go through the setup again later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so probably a checkbox and then just those two fields, I think is sufficient.
I think ignoring an incident is a premium feature.
Yeah, the Sentry one, yeah, it can like remind you again.
Yeah. I mean, I think the MVC, like, I don't need to get into all those workflows. I think just like listing them, and then like if you go into Sentry, you have options to do that stuff. And so if you've ignored it, then it might not show up in list view in Sentry, and then we can just not show it up in like whatever list view that we're going to show it. So I think,
We just show the active ones there.
yeah, like it seems like the list endpoint API is basically what they use for the list page. And so like look at like what it returns. It returns exactly the fields that they show in their list view. And so I imagine the logic is probably it's all baked in there, is my guess. Like if you decided to like hide something and it doesn't show up in the center view, I imagine it also like the same API call will like not show up in our view as well.
Should we look at the, I mean, while you're still setting that up, should we look at the production Sentry instance?
Sure. Yeah.
Am I the only one who hasn't looked at the production Sentry instance? And
I think on there you might just want to share it because that has like sensitive data in there.
Cool.
I can put it on the projector.
Yeah, I understand. If I don't want to just have like the recording go. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So should I stop the recording or just have it?
I think it's fine. Yeah, as well. Yeah. So they can see it.
So we could also use some help setting up the controllers first.
Yeah.
On the back end side, and then Brian can start adding those pages. I mean, we can make controllers, but if you're entering the danger zone, Brian.
Yeah, it seems like there's two main things to starting with the configuration and then the controllers and yeah, it's just like those.
Yeah, once you get the controllers, we can just focus those pages. I mean, the empty state's already in GitLab UI, so it's all. So that's done. Yeah. Just pass some bunch of props and
Sure, right. I haven't seen it.
those have the original people, and then as you grow the organization, then you use more. Still kind of applies to the thing. I think this one's kind of more. But for some reason, I thought that Ultimate was $19.99. But did we change that?
Why we change that?
It was a little much.
Yeah, I did look at that before and I was like, who buys this? Like, yeah. Yeah.
There was one customer that actually bought that. I know. I'm sure we're recording.
But
It's not in the UI.
That makes sense. No, I mean, I like the idea though of every category being spread across. Get a little bit of this. Yeah. Well, if we get there, if we bump it up,
There's always something. All right, so Brian, we will figure out. So what's the word on what? You want to work on detail view? The detail view is the one that's not spectacular. I like this.
All right, should I stop this recording now?
Probably.
And then we can like
and
live
then
stream whatever.
eventually like the live stream. I think what we could do is like have the first two discussions there.